Hi guys, 7:30 right now here in New England. This is a look at the east here. Don't worry about anything away from here, okay? Because this is my forecast region. Don't worry about New Jersey, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania. Don't worry about those areas. What we're looking at here right now and is really the frost, okay? Now, you got to look really darn closely here, but there is a hazardous weather outlook for coastal Massachusetts, and also a coastal flood statement for coastal Connecticut. What I'll do is I'll zoom in just a few minutes with that, but frost advisories, freeze warnings up into northern regions here tonight for the fact that there will be lows going down below 32. Potentially, particularly in the freeze warning region where there could be some 20s tonight. Very cold out there. Be vigilant. If you have any tender vegetation, bring that in. But actually, this region and this region of Vermont, and I'll kind of highlight that for you, this region of New York and this region of Vermont, those will really in here and in here will be the two coldest regions here tonight. The region that I shaded in here will be into the 20s, and the region that I shaded in here will be into the lower 30s. But the reason why that these two regions are not under any advisories or warnings is because actually these regions are in mountainous regions, and you would normally expect frosts and freezes to go right through late May in these areas. There will not be any watches, advisories, or warnings up into these regions. And I expect later on this week more frost advisories and freeze warnings out there. Frost advisories and freeze warnings will be a very common sight, particularly in New England, right up through maybe even early June in some cases, because of the fact that we're going to be in a very cool air mass for quite some time, and actually through most of the summer. So my major concern will not be this severe thunderstorm warnings or severe thunderstorm watches. It will generally be more closer to the cooler aspects towards your frosts advisories, and that would generally be staying to our north, New Hampshire, Vermont, northern New York, and Maine. But once in a while they will be dipping down into western Massachusetts or even as far east and south as the Boston area. But for right now, in Massachusetts, southern New England, we have these hazardous weather outlooks along the coast, and then the coastal flood statement. Coastal flood statement is for the fact that there could be, into some regions, seeing high tides that go pretty high here, more than normal, and about half a foot above normal. And areas prone to flooding may experience minor coastal flooding during that particular time of 10 and 1 a.m. tonight. Then a hazardous weather outlook for, yet again, the same reason, astronomical high tides. And with that being said, it's possible that in spots prone to coastal flooding, get wet at high tide Sunday night and Monday night. So keep that in mind as well. And that's for Eastern Mass, the Cape and the Islands, and Southeastern Mass and Southern Rhode Island. Now, talking briefly, and I kind of zoomed in here into Massachusetts. This is for Sunday, nothing much. Monday won't be much. Then as you work our way on into Tuesday, you can sort of see these rains approaching from the west. And what's actually going to happen is we get some pretty hefty rains coming in here by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, that particular time frame. And what might actually happen here is we may actually see some very heavy rains, particularly in the Heath region, northwestern Mass, southern Vermont. Be very careful. This will be the region that gets hit the hardest by the rains. There could be some isolated flooding concerns. All right. What's going to actually happen here is we're going to go from a wicked dry weather pattern to an extremely wet weather pattern here. Things will start averaging out, and we may actually get rid of this drought. I see this drought gone by the end of the summer. We will not be hot, and we will not be dry this summer. Originally, it was looking like this summer could be quite dry, but that's really taken away. It's not going to happen that way. So just don't expect that. But generally, the Northwest and Massachusetts will be affected fairly heavily by this rain event. According to the NAM, though, it won't be as bad here. As not the precipitation content will not be as strong. It's being indicated. It's not as strong as what the GFS is saying. But I generally am agreeing more with what the GFS is saying here. So this is tomorrow. Nothing major. Maybe a sprinkle around, but don't expect that. Kind of talking about what's going on Tuesday night into Wednesday. You can see there's that rain approaching. Wicked heavy amounts. According to the GFS, as much as an inch of rain fallen in a very brief time, maybe in a 6-hour period. You can sort of see what's going to happen here, and this will be right into southern Vermont, northwestern Mass. As far south these amounts could go is the Mass Pike. The Mass Pike is generally in here. So yeah, they could come down pretty. There could be some pretty hefty amounts into the Pioneer River Valley, and there is some pretty low-lying spots in the Pioneer River Valley. So keep that in mind as well. The Boston area won't be picking up as much, but they will be picking up a little bit. But generally, the jackpot rain amounts will be along and north of Route 2. Actually, Route 2 goes more like this. But along and north of Route 2, we'll see the heaviest amounts of rain here, particularly in northwestern Massachusetts. As time moves along here, this rain will start to dissipate, move out, and we may actually see a frost or freeze Thursday night and Friday night. Okay, and that's even including Massachusetts. All right. However, this will not go as far south as Connecticut. May go as far south as Connecticut Thursday night, but Friday night will be generally aimed at Massachusetts. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right. There could be some very chilly conditions Thursday night and Friday night, and then we could get some more rain and maybe even rain throughout the following week. So we'll have to watch out for that. The European, generally saying the same thing, generally saying New England will be the coolest part of the region, or will be the coolest region, as well as the Northwest throughout the period. However, this indicates, and I'm not really agreeing with the European just for this particular fact. If you notice this warm area that I shaded, this indicates that there will be a cool front here, a warm front here. What's going to happen is this cooler air is going to kind of leave us, and this front will come through, working its way east, warming us up ahead of this, giving us a very heavy line of thunderstorms, and then cooling us down behind it. Don't know if I agree with that for two reasons. If you look at the AO, which is the Arctic Oscillation, right now the AO is below the zero line, which is right here, below this line. Which means cooler weather when it comes in terms of temperature. Strong correlation between temperature and the AO. The lower the AO, the colder the temperature. What's actually going to happen here is I don't expect to have a 90-degree day, or this is around the 15th. And this is really up through the 16th here. I would expect that this warm air, if the European was right, would be coming in around the 16th. I don't see that to happen at this point. And actually, I just don't see that happening here. This is not indicating as that's going to happen. If you notice that this is staying generally well below the dotted line here, the general consensus of the models are saying that. And then you go to the NAO and you can sort of see, well below the line. So that means cooler and stormier, which kind of translates out into cool and rainy for us here in New England. All right. Briefly talking a little bit about the summer outlook. So what do I think about this map by AccuWeather.com? First of all, much better graphics than I can do, but that's besides the point. Agree 100% with this. severe weather to our south, not much heat here in New England. However, the one thing that I am concerned about for us here in New England and the East is a potential hurricane in August. All right. Something we don't want to hear, but so far up to this point, 2012 hasn't been bad. I think the second half of 2012 may actually be pretty nasty. Starting really in latter part of August, may have a little bit of break in the fall, maybe seeing a very heavy rainstorm in the fall, and then the winter, very preliminary at this time, but I think that the winter may be pretty nasty, but that will kind of be ironed out through time. But severe weather staying to our south, the heat staying, the very little heat here in New England. And what that's going to generally translate out for us is we will be a little bit closer to average for rainfall, and August may be well above average. May actually end up having a rainfall, we may actually be above average for rainfall by the end of the summer. Right now we're well below average, but it's going to be a lot different. Warm and dry in the south, but I'll talk a little bit about what's going on across the whole rest of the country with my USA forecast coming up in a little bit. But that's what's going on. I'll even bring you down to the area where it says that August may feature 1 or 2 big rain events, perhaps including a tropical system hit. And above normal precipitation forecast for the east in both June and August. Okay. So, it's something I am watching. And actually, if you look down here, all you got to look here is Atlantic hurricane forecast, East Coast vulnerable. All right, so that's what's going on. If you want more information, log on to AccuWeather.com. As they have much more information, you can read the articles and stuff like this. But for right now, I am just going to tell you that watch out. The summer will be not warm, not stormy when it comes in terms of severe weather, but could be quite nasty, maybe seeing a hurricane. So we'll keep that in mind and, take it as it comes. But for right now, have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll be back tomorrow with another forecast. Take care, everyone.